Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it happens to be your very first time here. My name is Troy, and in this series that I do on my channel every Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, I share with you a small list of dividend stocks that I love that all have ex-dividend dates for the following week.
Get a load of this guy.
Now you might be wondering what makes this list so much different than the millions of other top 5 lists you're going to find all over on YouTube. And what I do here is I provide you guys with a small list of dividend stocks that have outperformed the S&P 500 over a long period of time. They all have super high dividend growth rates and super low payout ratios, making it all sustainable. So if any of that sounds good to you, make sure you guys stay tuned for number 5, which is Plute Group, stock ticker PHM. Including today's video, I've now mentioned PHM 3 times right here on the channel. And if you go back to the very first time I spoke about it earlier this year, on June 14th, PHM has outperformed the S&P 500 since then. So let's go ahead and look at the numbers behind this stock. PHM is a quarterly payer in the consumer discretionary sector, paying 88 cents per share per year with a forward dividend yield of just 0.65%. PHM has been paying and growing their dividend over the last 7 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 12.63%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 12.71%, and a payout ratio of just 5.9%. Now, at the time of recording, Plute Group was trading 9.03% off of their 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of December 17th with a payout date very early next year at January 3rd. And looking at this chart, you're going to be able to see the growth of that $10,000 initial investment into this stock versus the S&P 500, and you're only reinvesting your dividends since then. With that being said, PHM would have taken that $10,000 and turned it into $71,308.20, which outperforms the S&P 500 by $36,346.08. And coming in at number 4 on this week's list is Federal Agricultural Mortgage, stock ticker AGM. I'm very excited to introduce this stock to you guys for the very first time in today's video, so let's go ahead and look at the numbers behind this stock. AGM is a quarterly payer in the financial sector, paying $5.60 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 2.62%. AGM has been paying and growing their dividend over the last 13 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 15.5%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 14.62%, and a payout ratio of 31.77%. Now, at the time of recording, AGM was trading 1.9% off of their 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of December 16th with a payout date of the last day of the year, December 31st. And looking at their chart over the last 10 years, AGM would have turned that $10,000 into $98,935.59, which outperforms the S&P 500 by $63,973.47. Next up, coming in at number 3 and the first one on the podium is Hamilton Lane, stock ticker HLNE. Including today's video, I've now mentioned this stock 3 times right here on the channel. And if you go back to the very first time I spoke about it, which was just June 7th of this year, HLNE is crushing the S&P 500 since then, and I want to show you the numbers behind a stock that outperforms like that right here. HLNE is a quarterly payer in the financial sector, paying $1.96 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of just 1.02%. HLNE has been paying and growing their dividend over the last 7 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 12.17%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 13.92%, and a payout ratio of 36.93%. Now, at the time of recording, Hamilton Lane was trading 5.56% off of their 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of December 16th with a payout date of January 7th. And looking at this chart, over the past 7.75 years, Hamilton Lane has turned $10,000 into $123,900, which outperformed the S&P 500 by $95,289.07 in the same time frame. Now, I know the numbers for that last one were kind of crazy, but that's only number 3, so we have 2 more even better stocks to come. If you guys like this kind of video, please let me know by leaving a like on the video, and I want to hear from you guys at the end of the video. Use the comment section down below to let me know what you guys think of this week's list. Are there any stocks that you guys would put on the list, would take off the list, or reorder my list? Let me know down below. Keep in mind, any stocks you guys want to add to the list need to have an ex-dividend date of this coming week. But now, let's get to the rest of the list. Next up, and coming in at number 2 is Vistra, stock ticker VST. Including today's video, I've now mentioned this stock 3 times right here on the channel. And if you go all the way back to the first time I spoke about this one earlier this year on March 15th, VST is destroying the S&P 500 since I mentioned it. So let's go ahead and look at the numbers behind this one. VST is a quarterly payer in the utility sector, paying 89 cents per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 0.55%. VST has been paying and growing their dividend over the last 6 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 22.77%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 23.62%, and it's all sustainable because their payout ratio is just 12.76%. Now, at the time of recording, Vistra was actually trading 5.13% off of their 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of December 20th with a payout date of December 31st. And looking at this chart, over the last 8.16 years, so still not 10 years, VST would have turned their $10,000 into $139,301.45, which outperforms the S&P 500 by a kind of noticeable $107,296.92 over the same time frame, so over the last 8 years. And after those last two stocks, it's hard to believe that I like a stock even better than that, but here we are. We made it to number 1, which is Ares Management, stock ticker ARES. Including today's video, I've now mentioned this stock 4 times right here on the channel, and if you go back to the first time I spoke about this one, also earlier this year on March 8th, Ares Management is outperforming the S&P 500, so let's go ahead and look at the numbers behind this one. Ares Management is a quarterly payer in the financial sector, paying $3.72 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 2.1%. Ares Management has been paying and growing their dividend over the last 5 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 25.3%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 23.49%, and a payout ratio of 67.04%, which is higher, but that's because it's a BDC. Now, at the time of recording, Ares Management was trading 2.02% off of their 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of December 17th with a payout date of the last day of the year of December 31st, and right here, this is where this one takes the cake. A $10,000 investment while only reinvesting dividends since then into this stock 10 years ago would have been turned into $167,925.13, which outperforms the S&P 500 by $132,963.01.
How you like them peaches?
Now, if you made it to this part of the video, first I want to say thank you guys so much for watching and the support on the channel. I do want to say, if you guys happen to be watching this after December 16th of 2024, it would be in your best interest to make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and this is simply because some of the ex-dividend dates in today's video might have already passed, which means if you do like any of these stocks and that ex-dividend date's passed, you now have to wait 3 long months before you get paid from any of these companies, and we all know
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Now, if you guys happen to fall asleep for a very long time and you missed last week's episode, you did miss those ex-dividend dates, which means you do need to wait a long time before your next payment, but these companies are still quality companies nonetheless. Make sure you check out that video right here. But until next time, see you.